Okay, so on line 36 here, I just entered the code for an image, and following that is an ordered list for the famous authors section. So now, what's next? Famous equations. That is an H2. If I can get it done here. Pythagorean theorem. Let's look at the original example. And you can see that these are both bulleted list items. So guess what? I'm going to create, let me scroll down a little bit, an unordered list, UL, open and close. I always like to do that because I will definitely forget to close it if I don't do it right when I create the opening UL. And here's a list item, opening and closing. Oops, list item, opening and closing. Now, within the Pythagorean theorem, that's so hard to say, I need to have a superscript. So look at what I do. Around the word 2, I just wrap the SUP tag. I'm going to do the same thing for this 2 over here in B squared. And C squared, same thing. Okay. And just so you know what that looks like, let's jump over to design view and look at what it did. Pretty cool. We just need to get this E equals MC squared. We need to add the superscript to the squared. And I'm done with that section. Now moving on to famous molecules. This is also an H2. And H2O water, let's see what we did here. This is an ordered list. It has numbers, 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to introduce an OL for an ordered list. And then individual list items, LI. Opening and closing. LI open, LI close. LI open, LI close. There's my list. And again, if I wanted to, I could tab those in. And H2O, the 2 here in H2O is supposed to be a subscript. So let's add the SUB tag this time, wrapped around the 2. And CO2 is also, the 2 is also a subscript. And here, C2H6O for ethanol, chemical formula for ethanol, has subscripts around the 2 and the 6. See me getting slow here? It's because I get confused too, just like everybody else. This code looks weird to me. So I have to stop and I have to look at it and think about what I want to do and if my tags are in the right place, okay? That's why I like Dreamweaver. It helps me out a little bit. Okay, let's look at that. Let's see how it looks. There are my subscripts. There's a 2, a 2, a 2, and a 6. Okay, that's the effects of my subscripts. So we keep going. Now notice I haven't been adding the horizontal rules between each section. I can come back and do that. It's not a big deal. Okay, programming. H2, second level header. And here's where I want you to use the pre-tag. The pre-tag, as I mentioned in the previous video, is a tag that will wrap around all of some code and it will honor the spacing. For example, 1, 2, 3. I'm adding 3 spaces there. 1, 2, 3. And this blank space, normally that would just go away when you viewed this in the browser. But here, with it inside of the pre-formatted tag, it will stay there. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. Let's see the effects of the pre-formatted tag. There it is. See how I have the space here? 3 spaces, a blank space here, 5 spaces here. So that's what that'll do for you. Okay, list of sources. We're almost done. Check it out. H2. H2. And this list of sources is inside of an unordered list. So you do a UL, opening and closing. So notice I'm making you do some things over and over and over again, such as unordered lists and list items. They're very, very important, especially when we get to cascading style sheet code. Close, list item, open, list item, close, list item, open, list item, closed. Okay, and just so that it's human readable, there we go. And you know what? Look, I could add a bunch of space in here. It doesn't matter. Just however I need to separate my code to make it where it's human readable for me. Okay, there's the result of all the code that I've added to this page. And it looks like the finished example pretty close. A couple of things I need to do. Let's go and add these HRs, because there's supposed to be an HR between each section. I forgot to do that, didn't I? So I can go into design view to see the results of what I've done, but we'll go back into code view for now to add all those extra things. So here's the merits of education. Okay, and here's my first H2, the importance of education. And let's see. Underneath it, between each section, is an HR. So the importance of education, right here after this, I'm going to add an HR. And ethics and education, underneath that section, I'm just going to add an HR. Okay, characters in education. Okay, under that section, an HR. And I'm going to copy this because I'm tired of typing it. And right here, between those two sections, between those two, and down here. Save. By the way, save often. You can look at your code in design view again to see an approximation of what you're going to get in the end. Look, if you don't like your image, if it's too large, come into design view, click on it, and scroll to the bottom, and you can hold your shift key down and change it. See how it will proportionally change it? If I don't do that and I just drag one of these handles or this handle here, I can make it where it doesn't look right. Okay, but I want a proportional resize, so I hold shift and drag that bottom arrow, bottom handle. There we go. And that looks like that's almost my finished page. The next step that you would take is you want to validate it with your W3C validator. And if you don't remember how to do that, then you need to look back on the previous video, XHTML-A, to figure out how to get that done. All right. Looks good.